From New York City, it's the Wendy Williams Show.
What are you doing? The kids have come to play today. You won't believe what I'm about to tell you. With all due respect, have several seats. My girls are always turned out. I give it to you straight, no chaser.
Now, here's Wendy.
Here we go again. Thank you for watching. Say hello to my co-hosts. You know these people. You could do one day. The tickets are free. We're right here in New York. My studio audience. Oh, boy. I'm doing great. Let's get started. It's time for Hot Topics. So, I took my power nap. I set the alarm at 9:45, in time to brush my teeth, splash some cold water on my face, and stay up for OJ last night at 10. And I have to say, it was definitely worth the effort. They got rave reviews. I was riveted. I can't wait until next week, where I'll have to do the same process again, because 10 o'clock to me is late on a weeknight. You know, we just work too hard during the day to stay up that late. But the cast was really good. I thought. I mean, the big question everybody always has when they hear big events like this, like OJ, where were you when you watched the Al Cowling OJ case in the White Bronco? I was at the radio station, and I worked the weekend shift, and I was riveted, because normally I hot-tail it out of there. I was, you know, a young and pretty New York City girl at that time, and I had a social life to deal with. But, because this chase was just something extraordinary to watch, I sat in the newsroom next to the AP machine, Associated Press, and leaned on the counter and just watched, like, wow, it's going down. Marcia Clark character I thought was wonderful. Haven't we talked about her on Hot Topics? Isn't she dating a 70-year-old woman? Yeah, she's down with she's fluid. So she's, you know, she's dating and whatnot. But in real life, that's real life. In fake life, she was a good Marcia Clark, Jerry curl and everything. And who knew that at that time, Marcia Clark was going through divorce, kids. Like, she's literally on the phone trying to bag lunch while they call her up as the DA and say, I think we've got something going on here, you know? And if you're from my era, then you were also shocked, more shocked than anything, that this was going down with O.J. Simpson, because he was a hero of a particular era. And while I'm not a football person or a sports person, if you didn't know O.J., then where were you? You know? I really like the Robert Kardashian, played by David Schwimmer. Hot Topics felt like this about it, but I was like, no. He was good. We didn't know Robert Kardashian, so we didn't know how he acted. You know, I liked the Christopher Darden character. I thought that, wow. He was really conflicted, you know? And Courtney B. Vance, who played Johnny Cochran, was fantastic. It's funny, when you wear a wig, you always recognize a wig. Even if it's a good wig. Like, this is a really good wig. Oh, and I had no, well, look, I'll talk more about Johnny and the whole movie because Courtney B. Vance will be gracing our couch later on in the show. Yeah. Shout out to Larry King. He's in New York. He's taping a bunch of his Larry King shows. And yep, same outfit. He had on the suspenders and, you know. He's fun and he's really sharp. And it's a misnomer for people to think that just because you're 80 plus that you aren't sharp, witty, and on top of things, not just politics, but pop culture and everything. I always enjoy seeing him. Anyway, and so he was taping a bunch of shows with people based in New York, and then he left to go back to LA. I think he's leaving this morning. But I ran into Candace Cameron Berry from The View in the hallway. Larry runs us through the, what do you call it? Like an assembly line. Okay, Wendy, and go! And then we interview, and then I'm out. Then Candace is walking in, and go! So, but she's so cute. I think she's such a great addition to The View. And she's very likable, and she, by the way, will be here later this month. And I really don't care at this point what the Super Bowl does in terms of entertainment. Because I am gonna have for you, if you care, the sickest alternative programming list ever. Yes, count on me, count on me. Just in case you're over it. Okay, well, first, the big news today is that Lady Gaga, who's winning at everything these days, it was just announced that she's gonna sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl on Sunday. Noah? First of all, if the committee picked Coldplay, then let them lie on that sword. All right, now I get it, Coldplay is big to a lot of people. The general audience, they say, of the Super Bowl are guys who also happen to be middle-aged. So they like Coldplay. Personally speaking, I am not attracted to Coldplay being there. Now, I know we don't all agree on the same music, but I don't know Coldplay like that. So don't you remember me saying, Super Bowl, you gotta do better? I think they might watch Hot Topics. Well, because then they added Beyonce, which, like I told you, if I was Beyonce, I would have seen the caller ID and not even answered the phone. I would have pressed it to voicemail. And by the way, don't leave me a voicemail because I'll never get it. Do you check your voicemail? I hate when people leave voicemail. It's like, I see your number. I'll call you when I get a chance. Checking voicemail is a whole nother job in a short day already. Anyway, Beyonce is not an add-on to Coldplay. Beyonce is the main potato. So now they have, it's Coldplay featuring Beyonce. The rumor was also featuring Bruno Mars, who's also, he's a solo act. He's not a Coldplay background dancer. What are we doing? So I'm already turned off. I don't care about the halftime. Because I have to watch too long before we get to the Beyonce part. Now they added Lady Gaga. Well, Lady Gaga is not the National Anthem Girl committee. She is the main course. I mean, Lady Gaga, Beyonce, Bruno Mars, they are all better than being background girls to Coldplay. And the national anthem should be done by somebody who's not so distracting. By the way, it's so sad that we don't say the pledge in the classes anymore. I know, they took it out because they say under God. And people are all PC these days. Growing up in Ocean Township, quite frankly, in elementary school, that was the thing. There was always a flag in the room and you put your hand over your heart and you stand straight. And I don't know that makes you a better person, because there are many people in my generation, including myself, who are very flawed. This did not affect much, but at least it's something ingrained. I don't even think my kid knows the words. And you know, and we've never taught him because we're always working because the economy's bad. Like, whatever happened to the good old days where you sat down with your kids? Anyway, I think that they should have the pledge person be some opera star from Broadway, and this is not disrespectful. I'm saying somebody with a beautiful voice, but somebody who is not Lady Gaga or Beyonce or like, what are we doing? Kristen Chenoweth, friend to the show, you'd be perfect for national anthem. Right? Idina Menzel sang the national anthem last year. That is the perfect candidate for a national anthem. Like, you know who she is. She's won multiple Tonys on Broadway, but she's not, God, how do I say this without foot in mouth? She's no Lady Gaga, Beyonce, or Rihanna in terms of popularity, you know, to the masses. Gaga's too big for this. And Gaga, please, I know that you're on a roll right now. You just got your Golden Globes. You're engaged to that beautiful man from the Chicago Fire. You know, your makeup is on point. Your earrings are beautiful. But here's where the train could go off the track. Because you remember Janet Jackson, she was flying high also. One nip slip, and it's never been the same. Gaga, this is not the time to, first of all, mess up the words. Now, you come from a generation, you might not know all the words, you know, because we knew all the words. I still know all the words, you know, my age. Anyway, you might not know all the words. Get the words right. People are sticklers. If you mess up the words, the bottom's gonna fall out. Also, don't wear something crazy. Don't come in on an egg. Don't wear a meat dress. You know. Don't be too exposed. You know, just don't be Lady Gaga, as a matter of fact. You know who you be that night? You be your parents' daughter, Stephanie. Yeah. That's who you be. This is a great outfit. Because I don't want her to dress like a nun, but I also don't want her to wear a meat dress and be disrespectful. I mean, I would get it, and you would get it, but the masses who judge, Janet Jackson, don't get it. Yeah. Gwyneth Paltrow, you're so weird. I mean, we all have our weirdiosity about us. You know, you follow anybody for 24 hours in a day, and you're gonna peep they're weird. You know what I mean? But let's talk about Gwyneth's weird. Okay, her ex-husband, Chris Martin, who's in Coldplay, who doesn't need to be at the Super Bowl. Anyway, Gwyneth and Chris, they have 2 kids together. One is 11 and one is 9. Yep. 9. And they still have sleepovers, Gwyneth and Chris. Not in the same bed, but in the same house. What they want to do is they want it so that when she or he or both of them together, when the kids wake up in the morning, he's right there with, I guess, the French toast and, you know, good morning, kids, I'm here. But they sleep in separate rooms. Now, their house, I'm sure, is not like you all's house, my house, you know, with 4 walls. It's like a compound in my mind. And there are different entrances and different motor courts and things like that. But why can't he just show up at the front gate at like 7 o'clock in the morning, right before the kids wake up? It's weird. That's weird to me. It's weird to me. I think that when parents do stuff like that, and I get the whole conscious uncoupling, and it's real important that parents get along when they have children together once they file for divorce, but I just feel like they're sending mixed messages to a 9 and 11-year-old. Even if you sleep in separate beds, the idea that daddy stayed here. And in my mind, she probably has like a keypad to her house on her night table. So all she has to do in the morning is roll over and buzz him in the gate. She doesn't even have to get up to do this. Then roll over and buzz one of the garage doors open. and then roll over and buzz the door from the garage to the kitchen to unlock, and then he's in the house. Let him start making breakfast. He can have all the quality time with the kids he wants. But the thing about Gwyneth is that she refers to him in a recent interview as he's like her brother. Chris, I don't know what you did or didn't do, but take this as a gigantic insult. Are you serious? Like, anybody who's seen your ecstasy face, who you've been married to and have kids with, even if you're so turned off to that person, like I'm turned off to him, that's even better than saying, oh, he's like my brother. And to me, saying something like that taints both of them with the W for weird for other people. Like, if I were a guy and I, wanted to date her, I'd say, well, no, because she might be the ulterior motive woman. Like, if you think of him like brother-like now, that means that you could think of me like that eventually. And that's insulting. And for him, I would just be like, oh my gosh, I gotta step up my game. No woman should be thinking of me like a brother. I don't care that we're divorced. All right, so, look. I've never seen a Twilight movie. Clap if you're with me. Really? Then why do we talk about Rob Pattinson? Okay, you know him, but you've just never seen one of the movies. Well, I'm taking one for the team because I really don't, because I don't know him, and I really don't know FKA Twigs, his fiance, but I figure there are people watching that might want this story. So, Merry Christmas, here it comes. Okay, so Robert and his fiance, FKA Twigs, she's English. Well, she gave him an ultimatum. Now, she's 29 and he 28. She's 28 and he's 29. Nice, because they look like two teenagers here, in a good way. Anyway, she says, marry me or I'm moving on. Play that game if you want to. First of all, they were dating for 6 months, and then they got engaged. And then they've been engaged now for 10 months. It's amazing what I retain from our morning meetings, all right? Ooh, I stepped up my vitamins. I got my memory pills going. Yeah, I'm remembering stuff. The most stupid stuff, right? Especially after staying up late last night watching the Johnny Cochran story with O.J. Simpson. Hey. By the way, I like Selma Blair as an actress, but I didn't like her as Kris Jenner. Right? And also, notice how they took that jab in the funeral and said, Courtney, relax. Chloe, sit down. They were running around like, oh, anyway. See how much I don't want to talk about this story right here. It's not really about these two. It's more about, and we've talked about this before, do you give a man an ultimatum? Do you give anybody, like, I don't work well with ultimatums, personally speaking. I want to do things because I want to do them. My father calls that having a hard head. I'll wear that. But when you tell a man, marry me or else, there's only two things that happen. Either he says yes, but then throws it in your face every time you fight. I didn't want to be here anyway. You're the one who made me do this, right? All right, so that's That's one thing that could happen. Like you get married, but guess what's going to happen? Or the other thing, which is where he says, well, I'm not marrying you. I love you, but why are you pressing me? Bye. So nothing good happens out of giving people ultimatums. But particularly when we're talking about marriage, I'm a traditionalist. I need a ring. I need a knee. I don't need my father's permission though. I mean, I don't need that. But I need a ring, a knee, and I need for you to ask me, not me to ask you. Yeah. All right.